Hello and welcome. Let's take a look at our top story. It has been over 30 years since the last country in Africa shut its doors to colonizers. Yet it seems that the Europeans are not ready to accept the fact that Africa can govern itself and that it is a continent more than just deserts and barren lands. They have continued to paint a picture and build a narrative that Africa needs them, that Africa still is not aware about different traditions in the world, especially the West. Guessing what we are talking about? It is about a song named Do They Know It's Christmas? Now, the song, Do They Know It's Christmas, is at the heart of a major controversy across continents. It is a song made by Band Aid, a charity supergroup of global musicians and singers, particularly British and Irish artists. It was assembled by musicians Bob Geldof and Midge Ure in 1984, and the song was released in the same year and was primarily a charity single song for a famine in Ethiopia between 1983 and 1985. When the song released, it shot straight to #1 on the UK charts and stayed there for 5 weeks. Within a year, it raised about $8.4 million. And in 2024, it is back in the limelight, but for all the wrong reasons. The charity collective is now coming out with a new remixed version on the 40th anniversary of the song, and the popular British singer and songwriter Ed Sheeran has voiced his criticism on it. Now, in a post on social media platform Instagram, he said that his approval was not sought for the new version of the song. Ed Sheeran, who was a part of the 30th anniversary version of the song in 2014, wrote that a decade after its release, his understanding about the narrative associated with the song had completely changed. Now, when the song was first released in 1984, it featured lyrics that were later criticized by artists as portraying Africa in a bad light and a place where nothing ever grows. Some even said that the lyrics were ignorant and portrayed a colonial attitude. Aiming his sharp criticism on the song, the British Ghanaian musician Nana Richard Abiona, better known as Fuse ODG, said that while it might generate sympathy and donations, they perpetuate damaging stereotypes that stifle Africa's economic growth, tourism and investment, and destroys the continent's dignity, pride and identity. He further said that these initiatives fuel pity rather than partnership, discouraging meaningful engagement. Now, Fuse ODG was himself offered to be a part of the 30th anniversary version in 2014, but he declined to be a part of it and had even asked Bob Geldof to reconsider the lyrics. To contextualize, Do They Know It's Christmas has had a total of 3 versions since its release in 1984. For its 20th anniversary version in 2004, the song was re-recorded with more popular music stars of the era, including Lamar, Estelle, Daniel and Natasha Bedingfield, among others. While for its 30th anniversary version, which debuted on X Factor in 2014, it saw several artists, including Ed Sheeran, One Direction, Sam Smith and Chris Martin from Coldplay. The band had also tweaked the lyrics to better suit the situation of Ebola in West Africa. Now, the latest version, which is set to be released on the 25th of November, will see the blend of voices from all of the 3 previous editions of the song. Interestingly, it was media coverage of the famine in Ethiopia that prompted Geldof, then the lead singer of the Boomtown Rats, and the Ultravox frontman Midge Ure to put together a supergroup and to record this charity single that reports suggest became an iconic festive tune of all time. Defending his song after the controversy that emerged this week, Bob Geldof said that the charity from the song had saved many people's lives. Geldof said that the song had kept hundreds of thousands of people alive and that the Band Aid had donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to help those running from the mass slaughter in Sudan and to feed children in the same famine-affected areas of Ethiopia. But it is not just Band Aid that has raised charity for the relief. During the Ethiopian famine between 1983 and 1985, that report suggests saw anywhere between 300,000 to 1.3 million people's deaths, and also saw nearly 2.5 million people being internally displaced. Several bands, including USA for Africa, Canadian group Northern Lights, French group the Canteurs Sans Frontières, and the Yugoslavian music group of U-Rock Mizia, released singles to contribute for anti-famine efforts in Ethiopia. Yet some of these songs that have gone on to become extremely popular in the West have left indelible impact on the minds of Africans, who are just hoping that this narrative changes soon. Now, to discuss more on this with us, we have the man himself, the British Ghanaian musician Fuse ODG, who also criticized the song. He's joining us live from London, United Kingdom. Thank you for being with us.
How you doing, Alyson?
Great to have you on the show. Let's jump
Thank you
right
for having
in.
me.
What are you, Ed Sheeran, and the other critics pointing to when you describe the song Do They Know It's Christmas as dehumanizing and damaging to Africans? And how valid are these concerns in today's context?
Yeah, I think if you actually break down the lyrics, because I think people tend to overlook what the lyric is saying. So one of the lyrics says that there's no peace and joy this Christmas in West Africa, right? Or in Africa. And for me, that in itself is not even the truth, because every Christmas, there's millions of people that go to Africa to enjoy themselves. For example, every December, everybody goes to Ghana to have a great time. So first of all, there's no fact and there's no truth in that lyric. And I think I understand his sentiment, right? Because he feels like he has to make people feel sad and feel pity for Africa in order for people to donate their money. But my perspective is that in the whole process of making people feel sorry for Africa, they would never come to Africa because they would just think Africa is a place of poverty, a place where you won't be able to enjoy Christmas, a place where, as the lyrics say, there's death in every tear. And I find that very detrimental to Africa, because it means that people will get scared to come to Africa. They'll give their donation, but they would never come. Maybe they might give their $2 or their £2, but they would never come and spend 2,000. Right. And that's the point that I'm trying to make, that let's find a way to position it in a way where we're not degrading the people of Africa. So I gave an example of Ukraine. We've managed to raise over 200 billion for Ukraine, but we didn't have to say that there's no peace and joy in Europe this Christmas. We didn't have to say that there's death in every tier in Europe. And another problem that I have with it is that there was a crisis, as you said in the intro, there was a crisis in Ethiopia at the time. But when it comes to the lyric and the images, it's portraying the whole of Africa. So he's taken one crisis from one place and he's painted a whole image of Africa. And as a result of that, we've lost in trillions in revenue because people refuse to come to Africa because they're scared. So I feel like there needs to be a different approach. And also after 40 years, and nothing has changed. At some point, you need to look at your business model or your charity model and tweak it. And in a way where it has, I guess, more impact or positive impact, because nothing has changed from what he's done.
Yeah. Fuse, right. Can I jump in there and say that Band-Aid has raised over £150 million for humanitarian causes since 1984. Yet, of course, this criticism persists about its portrayal, as you've said. How can these charity initiatives like this balance effective fundraising with accurate and respectful representation?
Yeah, I mean, you've made the point that they raised 150 million, but Africa has lost in trillions, which surpasses this 150 million that he's raised in a short term. So it's not enough to say that, you know, because of that, we should lose our dignity and our pride in order for people to, you know, raise money for us. And to your second question on how do we do it in a way where it's not degrading, is have a conversation with the people, talk to Africans, ask them how they, you know, how do you think we can partner to help you? So I'll give an example. When he asked me to be a part of Band Aid 30 at 2014, right? I seen the lyric and I said to him that this lyric does not reflect the truth of what happens in Africa. So my suggestion is if we can change it and say something else that don't degrade the people, but uplift the people, because the amount of artists, the caliber of artists that he had on there, from One Direction to Ed Sheeran to Adele, you know, they're all big artists. And at that time, we were all in the charts. I was in the top 10 too, and we've all made songs that would just make people dance. That would just make people happy. We all had celebratory songs in the charts. So why is it that we can't make a song that actually celebrates, and also we can raise the funds that we need to raise? Because if truly what we want to do is raise money to help people, then with these caliber of artists, we can make a powerful song that still, you know, it still has a sense of respect in it. You know, it still has love inside of it. We can still get together and make a song and raise money and actually help the people. But he refused to hear me out. And that's the problem that, you know, I had with that whole situation. And that's why I had to respectfully say no. So moving forward, there needs to be a dialogue where we both listen to each other. And I'm not just talking about Bob Geldof. I'm just talking about Band Aid and initiatives like it. We all need to have a conversation. Let's have a dialogue. See how you can partner with people. It needs to feel like a collaboration, not patronization. You know, so moving forward, that's how it has to be. And you have to also allow the people who are going through it to lead it.
Right. Absolutely. Fuse ODG, thank you very much for being with us on Firstpost Africa and for your valued insights on all the latest here.
Thank you. Appreciate you.